Alright, so this is going to be a video kind of demonstrating how the car drives, also the EV. So I'm going to go ahead, start it up, foot on the brake. Into reverse, we've got just about a full battery. So one dislike about the car is that beeping sound. That's annoying enough to cause a divorce right there. I've read and heard a lot of stuff about people really disliking that, as well as spouses. So go ahead, one thing I want to demonstrate is the EV. So we're in EV mode, but since the system is cool, nothing is efficient when it's cool. And you'll notice, even though I've got a fairly full battery, the engine's going to kick on. So there, it just kicked on, and I wasn't even anywhere near that white line. That's usually the cutoff, but in the warm-up period, that's what it does. So we've got a hill coming up here, and this is usually where I can go ahead and coast down and get my battery recharged, because in the beginning I've noticed with the gas motor on, it uses the electric fast. I'll see that battery gauge drop like a rock, and usually it's not that way. Usually when the gas motor's on, it charges the battery, but when it's just first warming up, the first start of the day, the colder it is, the more battery it uses as an assist. So here we're totally off of the gas, and you can see typically if the system was warmed up, we would be in EV mode again, but since it is not warmed up, the engine is basically idling at this point. And so we're going to go ahead, get the battery fully charged up again. Now if it's a warm enough morning, at this point in my commute, this will, there it goes, shut the gas engine off. And we'll see if we can take off up this hill. And now you'll notice I'm almost all the way to that white line on the EV gauge without it kicking the gas motor in at all. So I'm not setting any land speed records here, but I was able to take off to 30, you know, fairly quickly in a 25 zone. That's not an unrealistic speed to hit there. So I'm gonna apologize too for the camera setup. I'm on my way to work, so this is kind of a quick setup here, but I did want to show this video. And you notice our MPG has gone up quite a bit there. You know, it's gone from 30s to 80s here in a hurry. So what I like to do is, my commute consists of a few miles in the city, some miles on the highway, I don't know, maybe like 4 miles on the highway, and then a couple miles in the city again. So what I try to do is use all the battery I can in the beginning, because regardless, the gas engine's going to run on the highway no matter what. So might as well charge the battery. I might as well just deplete it, get to the highway, gas motor's on anyway, let it charge, and then most days I have a full charge then as soon as I get off the highway. And I would also say most days I can stay in EV mode all the way from the highway onward. So we've got a lot of traffic today. And this is what this video is all about. This is real world driving. I'm not trying to make anybody mad here, so I'm going to take off at a speed I would in any other car. Gas motor's on. So see, I'm in power mode. And one big thing I've learned is a lot of it's not trying to trick the system or anything like that. It's just drive the car normally, but drive it smoothly. And also try to anticipate as best as possible. So if you see a red light coming up, don't be on the gas all the way there. You know, do the best job you can there. It's not always possible to time lights out, and you don't want to get shot by people being so upset with road rage. So, you know, it's kind of a fine line there. And really, the car on a bad day for me gets mid-50s for MPG. So, you know, is it really worth eking an extra couple miles per gallon out just for that? So you see we were in gas mode that entire time. So the car is still kind of in a warm-up period. And you'll actually notice we're just about getting on the highway and I've got a full battery again. So now we're getting into a 65 mile an hour zone. And one thing I want to show, I'll get on it a little bit so we can get up to speed. It's actually a 55 mile an hour construction zone. I will show you can actually get in EV mode on the highway. So we're in full on power mode. We're up to the speed limit, off the gas and right in the EV mode. So now what I'll do is I'll just keep the throttle as close to that white line as possible so I can keep up with traffic. And this car is quiet. There's no gas motor running. All we have is road noise. I can hear the engine and the tires in the car next to me way louder than this car is, which is just crazy. And when we're in EV mode, as you'd expect, we are increasing the gas mileage fast. So we're back into gas mode. We're getting out of our construction zone. Right now we're getting 57.5 MPGs. It's dropping slightly because we are on the highway. The car is not fully warmed up. People driving like crazy. Now we're not at a full battery, but by the time we get off the highway, it will be full. And the one kind of neat thing is when you're going 70 and you get off the highway, if you are able to slowly slow down as you're getting off the highway, so you see the on-ramp approaching, you let off the gas, slowly merge yourself off, you can be in EV mode and regen all the way up to a full battery. And now that the car is on the highway, it's going to be sufficiently warmed up. Which means once you get in EV mode, I can probably go a couple miles at that point without turning the gas engine on. So I'm just about ready to get off the highway. I'm going up a little bit of an incline here, and then what I'm going to try and do is, I don't really have any traffic behind me. I'm going to slowly let off the throttle and we'll show you a 70 mile an hour EV mode. So I noticed when you're on the highway, the second you let off the throttle, it doesn't automatically kick into EV mode. So right there it kicked in. It wants a little bit more time to make sure that you don't need power to accelerate. So it is, you know, a smart system like that. So you just saw we were going 69 miles an hour, full EV mode. No problem. I've gone 70, 71 in EV mode. We're maintaining speed. There's no one behind me. I'm going to let off as the off-ramp's approaching. here is to have a full battery. And full battery to me is 2 bars from the top. I've only seen it twice in 2 months go higher than that. So it's meant to be maintained in that level, and it's really hard to get it any higher than that. So again, trying to anticipate here. We've got a red light coming up. And I don't know exactly when it's going to turn green, but I'm going to try and, well, it's green now, so I'll probably end up missing it. But it doesn't really matter, because when you're sitting in this car, you're not burning any gas. Right now I don't have the climate control on. Sorry about the camera again. So we didn't time that light quite right. But you just don't know all the time. And here we're at 67.6 miles to the gallon. Another thing I'd like to note is I'm just below a quarter tank, and I've got 162 miles to empty. So that's just crazy. You know, in the SUV I came from with a much larger gas tank, I would have half of that for the range at this point. So it's going green. Accelerate smoothly. And when the battery is full, it's kind of interesting. The more full the battery is, the more acceleration, the more power you have. So if you try to take off going 35 when the battery is mostly depleted, you will not have the power to do that in a timely manner. So, you know, if the battery's at 2, 3, maybe even 4 bars, I'm not even going to attempt to take off with traffic behind me without kicking that gas motor in. It's just not going to work. So I should mention too, it's 63 degrees here, a little bit humid, so the weather's pretty decent. And now we're up to 72.4 miles to the gallon. And you know, the one thing I've noticed is, you know, at least in the limited experience I've got with the Prius so far, is for me, when I turn the car on when I leave work, it basically has to run the gas engine anyway, just because I come out onto an incline, so I'm kicking it on anyway. So I might as well get there, use the battery power now, when everything's warmed up and efficient. When I leave work, it's going to kick the gas engine on anyway, so if I'm depleted at the end of my commute to work, it's going to need to charge it up, and the gas motor's on anyhow. So you just kind of, without even thinking about it, I start timing this stuff out, and it's just funny how it works. We're actually looking at taking a trip 2 hours each way on the highway, either this weekend or next weekend. And in a way, I'm almost dreading taking the Prius, because it's going to get, you know, 50 to 55 miles to the gallon, and I've been at about 66 over the last 1,500 miles. So it's just funny how, you know, taking a car on the highway is actually a bad thing all of a sudden, and that in a typical car is a good thing for gas mileage. So it's just funny how this car changes your perspective and mindset on everything. And what a good day when 55 miles to the gallon is a bad thing. So back in EV mode. And we got a little bit of a downhill, so we just kind of coast in from here. And the one thing I've noticed is these morning commutes, I'm using quite a bit of the battery on and off, so I'm using the whole hybrid system pretty well. And even if I've got the windows shut and the air conditioning off, no fan on or anything, there's still a fan that runs back by the battery. You can hear it. If you put your hand up against the vent under the seat, you can feel it actually suck air in, and it's a pretty strong fan. So, you know, that was a question I had as well, is if everything's shut off, will it still cool the batteries down? And yes, it will. So The other thing I didn't capture on camera is when you first get in the car, the second you open the driver's door and you haven't run the car in a few hours, you'll hear almost a hydraulic sound. And that, you know, I kind of wondered what that was when I purchased it, and it's actually the brakes kind of building up hydraulic fluid. So when you take off and the gas engine's not running, you still have brakes. So just all these things that are a little bit different in a Prius that you don't typically have. So kind of show you here too. Take this off the stand. So this is the screen I leave up on the main dash, and this is basically showing us my trip. So as we started, this is the warm-up period, and you know, it's you know, not so great. This line is 50 miles per gallon right here, and then it gets better and better and better, and as we got off the highway here, it's just awesome. We're in rock star status there. So the other thing here is, this is how I leave this main screen, and as we shut the car off, it gives you a score for the trip. So I got an 87 out of 100, excellent AC setting. So each time it gives you a little, kind of a little coaching as far as that goes. So I didn't see a lot out there when I was looking to purchase a Prius, so I kind of wanted to make something for you guys. So please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and go get yourself a 2016 Prius.